AITA for making my wife think our son was missing? My wife has a horrible habit that I discovered 2 months ago. We were ordering lunch on the Subway app and I told her to pick the location that has a drive-through. That way we don't have to go inside and take the baby out of the car just to clip him back in a few minutes later. She told me it's not a big deal to leave the baby in the car to run in and pick it up really fast. I had no idea she ever did this. I told her I was not comfortable with her leaving him in the car alone even for a minute, and she told me she's been doing it since he was born and it's always been fine. She told me she does it to pick up food, run into the post office or pharmacy, etc. I was floored. We don't live in a horrible area, but it's also not super safe either. I told her to not ever do this again. She told me she never stopped to think about the potential dangers and that she would stop doing it. Well, yesterday as I was driving home from my brother's house, I spotted her car at the gas station near our place. It was parked in a spot up front and not a pump. So I figured she stopped in to grab some snacks, which we like to do. I decided to stop and go in and say hi and get some food, and I pulled in and parked next to her. However, when I got there I was furious to find our son in his car seat. The car wasn't even locked. I don't know what came over me, but in that moment I decided to take my son and put him into my car. He's got a car seat in there too. I then drove to the other side of the gas station parking lot and waited for my wife to come out. It took 6 minutes for her to appear. When she saw that he was gone, she looked stunned for a second and then started to frantically look around and cry. I didn't let it go on long. After this I saw her pull her phone out, presumably to call 911. And that's when I pulled my car around to her. I parked, got out and walked around to my son's door, and opened it to show him to her. She looked extremely relieved, but that quickly turned to anger with her asking me why I took him and did that to her. I told her she needed to learn her lesson and she promised to stop leaving him in the car, and that she was extremely irresponsible. It was so easy for me to pull up and take him. No one else at the gas station even noticed. So if he really was taken, there would have been no help and it would have been 100% her fault. She proceeded to call me cruel and psychotic and tried taking our son out of my car into hers. I said no and that I would be driving him home. And I left. She came home not much later but ignored me the rest of the day. She acknowledged me today saying she wanted an apology, and I said absolutely not, and she's the one who should be saying sorry. She's been guilt-tripping me the rest of the day, saying no mother should experience the fear I put her through. Did I go too far? AITA? NTA. Your wife is right. No mother should have to experience that fear. And she opens herself up to it constantly. She deserves what she got. Honestly. NTA in my views. She leaves your son unattended in an unlocked car. Not only can he get kidnapped, but 5 minutes during a hot summer day can be enough for a heat stroke. Or someone stealing the car, not realizing a kid is on board. Or a million other risks or dangers. You asked her not to do it again. She agreed and still did it again. I wouldn't leave my kid with her to run an errand again. NTA. She needed the reality check. Normally, I'd be very against this type of thing, but you'd already spoken to her and she lied to you and kept doing it. This could end not only in a kidnapping but in CPS involvement for your family. If she doesn't stop, I'd hesitate to let her drive your child anywhere. NTA. But I have to say, what would happen if your wife forgets or she takes longer? Have you read about babies sighting in hot cars and what can happen? Being kidnapped is only one of the many awful outcomes. NTA. It was cruel but absolutely necessary. Your wife is putting your son in danger when she leaves him alone in the car. Normally I'm fully against game playing. But this is your child's life. I support your actions. Your wife is being hugely neglectful. Not to mention it'll be warm soon, and being left in a hot car even for a few minutes can be deadly. NTA, and I wouldn't let her take him anywhere until she apologizes. NTA, your wife is endangering your infant. Car running? Unlocked? 6 minutes? That's long enough to be far away if you get on a highway. How can you trust her with your baby? If she doesn't change immediately, it is grounds for considering whether she is really a trustworthy partner to parent with. If you knowingly let her endanger your kid, it becomes your fault too. NTA. My husband pulled this stunt and got caught when he locked the keys in the car with the kid and had to call me. It is so dangerous, and she is lucky it was you that took him. NTA. Yeah, you freaked her out, but I think it was totally necessary. You already explained to her why she shouldn't do it and she decided to lie. I don't really see any other way you could have demonstrated it other than just waiting by the car and saying something like, "I could have taken our son," which she wouldn't have taken as seriously. Also, your wife sounds like a complete fool, honestly. I have no idea where you are, but in a few months it will become very dangerous to leave your child in the car for any amount of time due to the heat. Leaving your door unlocked, even without a kid in the car, is just dumb, especially for such a long time. Your wife is neglectful. Maybe now she won't put your kid at risk. NTA. I answer 911 calls in Florida and we get more hot car deaths than I like to think about. Is it hot right now? Not super, but cars heat up fast. She came out after 6 minutes. How long was he there alone before that? The car was also unlocked. Any number of things could have happened to your child. She's being reckless and is lucky you didn't call the police. NTA. To be honest, I'd contemplate leaving my husband if he was putting our child in that much danger. Repeatedly. I'm going with NTA. This is so stupid of her. Beyond stupid. If a stranger saw a random baby in the car, I would call the cops, make a report to CPs in. Probably break a window to get the baby out. It takes literal seconds for a child to get abducted. I live in SoCal. It takes minutes for a child to die of heat stroke. There was a news article about a car thief that stole a vehicle that had a baby inside. Came back and berated the mother for leaving the child unattended. I was almost tempted to say ESH because it must have been terrifying and it shouldn't have gotten to this point, but considering everything, including that you've already had this discussion and she said she wouldn't do it anymore. NTA. It was harsh, but your child's safety has to come first. And if that's the only way it was going to get through to her, then so be it. Better for her to have experienced that very scary moment while your child is actually safe the whole time and be able to learn from it than for it to happen for real and your child to end up being kidnapped or harmed in any other way as a result of her being so careless. That moment will probably stick with her for the rest of her life, and it should. Because she is extremely lucky that this was the closest she will ever have to get to that kind of experience, and that miraculously nothing had happened to your child during the many times she had already taken that risk with his safety. NTA. What if it was a stranger and as the car was not locked they could have jumped in the car with the baby inside and took off? Or what if someone called the police for her leaving a baby in the car all by himself while she runs in somewhere? PPL get arrested for this kind of stuff. What you did was show her the reality of what you have been telling her not to do and how easy it would have been to kidnap the baby. Sometimes it takes drastic measures to get a point across. What if it was a very hot day and the AC went out? She may claim she just runs in real quick. But as seen here, you had plenty of time to drive up to her vehicle, get your son and buckle him in your car, and then drive to a different spot. Quick my butt, she was in there long enough something could happen. NTA. I have a toddler. Would it be easier to leave him in the car to run a quick errand? Yes. But, thinking of all the risks, I could never do it. Kidnapping. Car theft. These things all happen. She needs to imagine it wasn't you but a vicious predator that took her son. Would she be able to live with herself if something happened? Does she read the news? Horrible things happen every single day. I'm really at a loss for words. Hopefully she really doesn't ever do that again. Kids die from heat or cold in cars every single year. Kids are kidnapped. Leaving him in the car to run inside somewhere has been warned against for decades. I honestly have no idea what she is thinking. I was ready to put you on blast until I read the whole post. If she still doesn't take it seriously, get others to tell her. She is putting the baby in danger. There are numerous states in the US that have actual laws against this. NTA. Good luck. Your wife seems to have horrible judgment. The attitude of bad things won't happen to me isn't good enough when a baby's welfare is at stake. I'll go with NTA. Your wife seems like the type of person that doesn't learn until shown otherwise. You had already asked her to stop leaving your son alone in the car. So you got forced to go into the extreme measure of scaring her like that when shown that she hadn't changed. I would apologize, but making it clear that you don't regret it because she wouldn't have learned otherwise. NTA. She is lucky as hell that someone has not kidnapped the child. Not has she been reported to police for this. I'm gonna say NTA. In some states her behavior is actually illegal. Assuming you're in the US. To me, this would honestly be grounds for a divorce and Jay would go for full custody and contact CPS. If I found a random child locked in a car in the middle of a grocery store parking lot, I'd immediately call the police and CPS on the spot. She's putting your child in danger on a regular basis and doesn't even seem to realize that what she's doing is wrong. NTA. Hopefully this is the wake-up call she needed so she'll stop leaving her child alone in a car. It is beyond irresponsible and completely unacceptable. The fact that she also lied to you and said she would stop after you explained what could happen further makes you NTA and her massive one.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.